The latch on this lock is getting stuck and the door won't stay shut. A new lock would have to be special ordered. This has to be working correctly today, so my only option is to repair it. After I loosen 2 screws, I unthread the doorknob from the square shaft to remove it. Then I can remove 4 screws holding the lock on the door and it comes right off. So next I disassemble and carefully remove parts from the back side of the lock. This is a good time to take a photo of all the parts like I've done here. Okay, immediately I can see there's a broken spring that controls the doorknob. There's also a second spring. This is the main one that's used to operate the sticking latch, and it seems to be in pretty good condition. I won't be trying to adjust it because spring steel will break if you try and bend it too much. I have to be careful. If the lock can't be fixed, it will cost $1,500 for a replacement. So the smaller broken spring is an assist for returning the heavy doorknobs and limiting the rebound action. I'll go to a locksmith or look online for a replacement. The lock should work fine until I get a new one. Here's the latch that's sticking. It seems to be moving freely, but if you look at where the parts make contact with each other, they're extremely worn. That means there's an excessive amount of pressure and is most likely why it's sticking. While I have it disassembled, I'm going to use a lubricant that will also dissolve some of the gunk. I'm not trying to make everything look new, just doing maintenance to get the mechanical parts operating smoothly. The deadbolt's working well, so I don't feel there's any need to disassemble it. Wipe up any excess lubricant because it will run down and create sticky residue in the future. I never use graphite in any lock. In humid conditions, it'll become like concrete and actually bind up moving parts. The key was bent when someone bumped into it. I have to carefully straighten the key so it doesn't break when I do it. I've cleaned and lubricated the lock. Everything's working fine now, so I'm going to go ahead and put it back together and reinstall it on the door. So I ran into a problem. The latch is still binding when the 4 screws that hold the lock in place are tightened down, but not when they're loose. Here I can see that there are 2 places the backplate is making contact with the door. After removing some material from the 2 spots on the door with my Dremel grinder, I reinstalled the lock and it's operating perfectly. The one broken spring will get replaced at a later date, but for now, the main problem is fixed and the door will stay closed. The last thing to do is screw the knob back onto the shaft. To adjust it properly, I tighten it down so it's snug, then unscrew it until the 2 Allen screws on the knob are facing down, then I tighten them. There should be a little bit of play in and out on the knob and it should turn freely. I'm going to get the outside of the lock shined up using brass polish. I've taped it off because the polish will leave black residue on the paint. Burnish the edges of the tape down, but not too much because it can peel the paint off. It's important not to rush this step. If I get black marks or peeled paints, I have to repaint both doors because the existing paint is faded and touch-up won't match. That would add a couple of hours to the project, so it's better to spend time now and avoid that. Here's the finished results. I saved the owner a ton of money on the cost of a replacement lock by spending a little time investigating and a couple quick fixes that got it working quickly. I'm Steve Blackwood. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so it can be shared with others, and you can check out more of my videos. Thanks for watching.